Hello, I'm Liz Lumley of Finextra, and we're here at EBA Day in Helsinki. And today I'm speaking to Matt Ellis of ACI. And we're going to talk about immediate payments, which is a big topic of conversation here at EBA Day. But what does immediate payments really mean to the customer?
Whether we call them immediate payments or fast time payments or real-time payments or any-to-any payments, our perspective is that the world will continue to evolve from siloed-based payment systems. Today, when you talk to banks, they operate typically in multiple geographies, and in those geographies they're typically connected to low-value payment engines that are typically batch, domestic, and high-value payment engines that are typically processed in some sort of real-time fashion domestically. So if you're talking to a bank that operates in 10 countries, they end up, in many cases, with 10 different processing systems for low and high-value payments. Over time, that doesn't work, right? That complexity inside the bank's infrastructure, the real challenge is that that complexity then often gets mirrored out to the bank's corporate customers. And banks ask their customers to understand their internal infrastructure and then have to navigate. It's our perspective that the trend toward real-time payments, toward immediate payments, whether we have to continue to settle on the back end with multiple in-country systems, the banks need a technology infrastructure that separates those settlement engines that connect to schemes in-country, decouples those completely from the customer's experience. The customer needs to be able to make a payment from any country, in any currency, and have the ability to make that payment in near real time.
So are you making the case that for banks really to succeed and to roll out faster payments or real-time payments, whatever people are calling it, they need to collaborate with different payment schemes and banks and providers around the globe?
I think that's a great point. I think that there has to be an acknowledgement and a recognition of two things. First of all, the trend toward faster payments is real. Right? We can look to the UK, we can look to Singapore, we can look to countries all over the world as examples that whether it's happening because banks are looking to take cost out, or because they're being regulated into delivering real-time payments, or because the customers or competitors are offering it and therefore markets demand it, the trend toward real-time payments is real and it's going to happen. So I think when you accept that, but then you also accept the reality that it will happen at different paces in different countries, you need to make sure that you have an infrastructure that allows you to deal with that reality. The evolution to real-time payments with the recognition that in differing countries, that evolution is going to happen at different pace, and you need to separate the reality of settling those payments in country. You have to separate that transactional and technical reality from your ability to serve your customers. You need to be able to serve your customers. It needs to feel seamless to the customer as the customer interacts from a channel perspective. But then the reality of settling those payments, that needs to be flexible enough to evolve over time as countries move to faster real-time payment schemes.
So I really wanted to bring you back to the customer, because you talked a lot about the complexity of the back-end infrastructures, but from the customer point of view, as long as they perceive they're getting a real-time service, does it even matter what the complexity is in the back end?
It shouldn't. It should not matter to the customer, and the leading banks have already recognized that they need to insulate the customer from the complex realities of settling these payments, and their channel systems need to simplify the origination of those payments. They need to allow their customer to make those payment instructions as easily and simply as possible, and divorce that from the technical complexities that exist inside their financial institutions. They really need to hide the complexity from their corporate and consumer customers. And the banks that do that well are the banks that win, right? The banks that expose when you make a payment in dollars, you do it this way. When you make a payment in pounds, you do it that way. When you make a payment in yen, you do it that way. The banks that continue to expose, to reflect their siloed payment infrastructures all the way out to their customers, those are the banks that are going to lose business to the banks who insulate their customers from that underlying complexity.